Hey, what is going on, everybody? Boilon here, back for another video on Marvel Strike Force. Welcome to Monday. Welcome to a new video. Welcome to a new start of the week here on MSF. So as you can see here in the background, we have what is going to be a video about one of the new characters coming for next patch, and that's Ares. Now, I do want to say that this is also within the backdrop of a lot of the mess that's been going on the last few days. This video is not about that, but hopefully we can, I guess, kind of move things back the other way, perhaps. I mean, there's a lot of things that's going to be going on this week, but I guess this is a bit of an interlude video, I suppose, of some of the things that are upcoming in the game. So Ares is being released, or rather, he's going to be, I think, the first character of the next patch. And he represents a huge stat creep forward for Marvel Strike Force. We're going to get into that in this video, so if you're ready to go, let's boil this down. All right, so we have the blog post here called The Wrath of Mars. Ares in the background, of course. So TLDR, like, I guess, like, before we get into it, Ares is going to be a standalone break the glass kind of character. So he's going to be a very powerful, potentially oppressive character, but he is a plug and play character. Typically, you're going to find him useful in war. But because of his kit, he is going to be very good all around, I think, and we'll get into that as well. There is some lore here, but basically, obviously, Ares is the god of war, right? So he's going to be useful in Alliance War, War Offense, War Defense. I don't believe there's specific mode callouts. I think it's just Alliance War. And the way that he's going to be released is very similar to what we saw in Silver Surfer. So for those of you who have been playing for that long, you might remember this. Now, as far as I'm aware, he is not going to have he's not going to have character offers. He's going to be exclusively available in the Battle Pass. That's the RTA Battle Pass starting July the 29th. So that's going to be not the one today, but the one in 2 weeks' time. Probably explains why I haven't seen anything in the data mines lately as well. There hasn't been like very limited data mines in the past week. But he's going to be in both the premium and the standard pass versions. However, if you want to get him unlocked, I believe you do need to buy into the premium version or the paid pass on the first pass. You can unlock a 3-star Ares during the first season availability with the premium pass, and I think it's the second or third pass for free to play. No matter the route you take, the God of War, make sure you dive into the PvP game modes like Alliance War and Cosmic Crucible, Arena Blitz, and RTA to max your Battle Pass season, right? You know, that's how you have to do these kind of things. So we need to talk about the future of character base stats. Basically, Ares, and going forward with this patch, characters are going to receive a significant increase to their base stats. And we need to talk about that before we go into what's else. I'm not sure if it really goes into further detail, but from what we know anyways, that's what we've been told, is that basically there's going to be 6 passes for Ares over the next 3 months. So every 2 weeks for 3 months. And if you buy into all of the premium versions of the paid pass, you will get them at 7-star. It's my understanding that by the start of the 3rd pass is when you're going to unlock them free to play. So if you do not buy into the pass, then it could take you about a month's time before you do see them unlocked. If you do buy the first pass, however, you should be able to unlock them at 3 stars. There is not going to be any other character offers that I'm aware of where you can buy shards for him. It's just through this. So keep that in mind. So the future of base stats, basically they noticed that, you know, with trends with passives, team passives, stat passes, that kind of thing, things were kind of getting a little bit out of control. They said that the kits were getting too lengthy, that kind of thing. We had a conversation about this as well. Starting with Ares and continuing the next team, the Annihilator. So confirmation that yes, the next set of characters are going to be the Annihilators. That's the team for next patch. We're adjusting how we balance the characters. And while this is not the main point of this video here, because we are mostly talking about Ares, I do want to let people know that the reworks for the upcoming team, the Annihilators, is going to include reworks for Ultimus. Some people joked about this in one of my previous videos, but looks like you may have been right. The meme is no longer a meme necessarily. Now, how good he is going to be on this team, he is obvious. We know from the past that usually reworks are the first ones to get kicked to the curb. So how much you want to invest in this, I don't know. However, there is going to be some use when this team is used in its entirety. So there is something here for that. So if you ever wanted to upgrade your Ultimus, then now is the time. I think there's going to be more kit details coming in a separate video, though, and not in this one here. But we were able to share also that the second rework is going to be Silver Surfer. Did actually mention this originally. I think this was my number one pick for reworks in one of my first videos when we talked about the new characters when the splash screen went live. So for those of you who may have guessed Silver Surfer, well, congratulations, you are right as well. So Silver Surfer and Ultimus are the two reworked characters for the Annihilators alongside the upcoming Gord the God Butcher, Thanos Endgame, and Gladiator. But those will be a separate video. This one we're focusing on Ares. Historically, our character balancing starts with base stats, and we've maintained tight control over character base stats since we've launched. Stat values have slowly increased over the years, and we allow them to grow a few times a year when we release new Apex teams. However, because we've tightly controlled base stats, we've been adding more power and complexity to a character's ability kit each time we release a new character. After taking a hard look at some of the complexity of some of our abilities, we knew it was time to enact change. We've increased our bar for base stats for new characters and reworks going forward. This means characters will be powerful and effective with interesting abilities, but will rely more on their stats than current characters. Our new characters will have higher health and damage and armor, etc., but we're also reducing the amount of stats that we've been putting into passives. As a result, power scores for characters are going to increase as most of the score is tied to the base stats. So there's one thing that I'm not sure that they quite considered, or if they did, this is going to have a little bit of an impact on how things are for free to play. You guys might know that right now with characters and teams that you'll see passives on those characters that are like plus 50% stats, right? Plus 50% health, damage, whatever for the character. And that scales, no matter what star rank the characters are at. And that's really important. But now, if there's less of that and more caked into the base stats, that means the star levels of the characters are going to matter more than they ever did before, because you're going to get the majority of the growth from their star ranks, as they get high, obviously, right? As they get more stars, they're going to get more powerful. But what that means is that when it was like 50% shared across the team, that was a way to bump their stats up without their star ranks being as high, right? So you saw more value. Now, in this instance, you're going to get more value as the star ranks go up, that their overall growth are more powerful than if it was the other way around, essentially. So what this means is I think that free to play, it may not be the same as what we're used to. And so I guess we'll see with that going forward, but the higher potential at higher star ranks is going to be very high. So I think when this new patch comes out, I'll have to, when I get the stat charts and things like that, the stats, I'm going to have to really compare this against like previous characters and see how much better they are than other characters standalone. I think that's what we're going to have to take a look at. So Ares, God of War, right? And here is the lore for Ares. If you want to read through that, I don't normally do that. So he's going to be really crazy, though. He is a protector who can turn his enemy's strengths to his own. I mean, it's all in here, but really, we just want to read the kits. So he's a villain, global, mystic protector character with a speed of 118. So again, he has no team tag. So plug and play usage in Alliance War, but also you may see some use, obviously, in Cosmic. You will, for sure, you will see some use in Cosmic Crucible, and maybe in Arena when we actually get to his kit. Now, I do want to start with his passive. I do also want to tell you that Ares does have 4 awakened abilities. So he is not an epic character. However, he does have 4 awakened abilities. We were not told that he is a dark promotion character, but I want to assume that he probably is. I'm just going to go on a limb and assume that. Also, I assume also that there's going to be some paywalling of his awakened abilities to some extent, which will be locked behind other offers or star ranks, things like that. He's probably going to have a showcase or something that's going to like, just like how the shields are right now with the Illuminati. I'm just going to take a stab in the dark that he's going to have like star ranked showcase levels where his awakened abilities are locked behind that. Just my guess. I want to jump ahead actually to his passive though, because his passive is pretty nuts. So we're going to start here. On spawn, gain safeguard. In war, after all other characters on spawn effects, he copies and clears all of them, charged and revived once from all of the enemies to this character. Okay, so this cannot be resisted. So what this means is that after everyone's loaded in, he takes all of their effects, all of their charges, and revive once, and he gets them. Now it's not going to stack. So if he's stealing like 5 revive onces or whatever, it's only going to be 1. And when he steals charges, he steals it whoever has the most amount of charges. So it's not going to stack as well. It's not additive in that sense. So that's insane because I think unless they spawn with safeguard as well, he's not actually like he's going to wipe pretty much all of their buffs at the start of battle. Pretty crazy. On turn, if this character has charged, he gains 20% speed bar and loses 1 charge. Now, I don't know if he's losing 1 charge per 20% speed bar, or it's just a one-time thing. Like it's just 20%. It's not like 100 if he has 5. I think that's how it is. It's just a flat 20% per turn extra on any turn, actually. So I guess if he had 5 charges, then it would just keep going, right? Like every other character's turn. And eventually he would lose all his charges and whatnot. While charged, non-mythic enemies cannot gain charged or immunity. That's a pretty big thing too, I think. So not only is he stealing charges at the start, but also they cannot gain it as long as he has them. So quite good at countering some pretty powerful characters here. Green Goblin Classic is a good one I would think off the top of my head. And this is usable. That part's not usable in war, I guess, but this part is, I suppose. I'm just thinking about the charges that Green Goblin has on spawn. And Ares cannot be stunned while he has charges as well. Now his passive awakened ability, this is really oppressive, and that's why I wanted to start here. At the start of any match, enemy characters cannot spawn with safeguard. So he is essentially, yes, he is doing an Apocalypse passive with the awakened ability. He also gains safeguard for 2 turns on spawn for himself. So I don't know. It's like an Apocalypse replacement, but it's also like an additional Apocalypse if you want to put it that way too. And this is usable in any game mode. So that's why I wasn't sure if you might start to see, given his stack growth, like let's say once he gets to like 6 or 7 star, that kind of thing, if you're going to start to see Ares in Arena. But he's definitely going to be usable in the PvP game modes. You might see him in Arena. I think there's a good chance because if his stats are very high, especially the amount of damage and health and stuff like that, maybe there might be space for him. So let's jump back up to his basic Sundering Smite. Attack primary target for 250, plus clear 3 positive effects, chain to 2 adjacent targets for 190 to clear 2 positive effects. Now, I do want to say that basically they've kind of lowered the value of the percentages. And the reason for that is because their base stats are going to be so high that it's going to compensate for these numbers being a little bit lower because they were getting a bit higher on older characters. And that was kind of like the compression that they're trying to do. They're trying to compress the kit percentages, but meanwhile have, a lot higher on the base stats so that it is net better, I suppose you could say. And the numbers are not like significant, we're not getting like 800%, that kind of thing. Counterattack does break this chain, but the awakened ability does give 20% more damage on the top level to primary and second targets, and he gains immunity for doing that. So I believe that's also the safety stuff. If he has the awakened, I think it will do that too, like it says down here. So if you make Ares a striker, then his follow-up attack will allow him to gain immunity, which is good because he also has safeguard for 2 turns on spawn. This is going to be quite effective. His special, Wrath of Mars, on a cooldown of 3, starts with 3 out of 3. Clear all barrier on primary target. Attack primary for 250, plus apply stun and disrupt, and he gains a charge. So usable outside of all game modes there. The awakened ability, clear all barrier on all enemies. That is really good. Like in terms of the passive is the most important thing to get for him. This special is really good too. And in war, apply trauma to the primary target. That's obviously that's good. But the clear all barrier on all enemies, I think that's in any game mode. That's pretty critical, I think. His ultimate, 5 out of 5, Furious Whirlwind, attack primary target for 200% plus 25% drain. And then attack primary and secondary targets for 250% piercing and 25% drain. And apply bleed for 2 turns and ability block for 1 turn. So there's a little bit of AoE-ish, small AoE ability block going on. Flip one negative effect into a positive effect for herself, and it's unavoidable and cannot be blocked. So this is a pretty good chance you're going to land this. If he awakens that, then it's going to be ability block for 2 turns. So that's pretty good. There's a pretty big difference between 1 turn and 2 turn ability blocks, and then flip 3 negative effects. So I think that this, it's hard to say. Like, I think maybe passive, ultimate, and special now that I think about it. But that's the thing. Like, it's going to be so important that you get these. And where do you get them? It's most likely going to involve money, right? That's what they're trying to do. I don't think that you're going to see him get his awakened abilities. There might be like a one of them might be free to play. You know, like how we did for Old Man Logan. That was free to play for his ultimate. We might see that. But I think by and large, these are going to be paid things. So you can see that the amount of bullet points on these characters are less, which I think is a good thing because they were starting to get so complicated that it was just crazy. And I guess the idea is that all their base stats are going to try to lessen the amount of requirements. Like, this attack has plus 200% focus. Well, you might not need that because this focus is going to be so high, presumably from the stat growth, that you won't need these kinds of things. And the stat passives, the plus focus on attacks, that kind of thing, the extra bullet points that you would see on different characters. So that is Ares. I think that's it there. But one thing that I do want to let you know and just say that reiterate that it is going to be the RTA pass, not this one that's coming up later on today, but it's going to be in 2 weeks' time for Ares. I guess it's the first character that we're revealing here as far as the next patch goes. But we have the upcoming characters for the Annihilators team, and that's going to be Gore, that's going to be Thanos, and that's going to be Gladiator, who are going to be the next upcoming team for the Annihilators. Who's in there as well. So let me know what you think in the comments down below about Ares, and I guess we'll find out more about what's going on with this game. We have Pocket Dimensions starting up tomorrow, right? So there's still plenty of time for things to hit the fan, and I hope it doesn't, but there's still a lot of concerns that I have. So that's going to be the end of this video, everyone, and until next time, stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you all later. Boilon signing out.